Iran, 2023. A woman is driving her car. Her headscarf slips just for a second while she is loading grocery bags into the back seat. There is no police officers nearby, no patrol car, but within seconds, a text message hit her phone. Your vehicle has been placed under systematic confiscation for 14 days for violation of mandatory hijab laws. No human being saw her with her own eyes. No person wrote that message. A camera photographed her. A facial recognition algorithm identified her. Another system pulled her phone number, and within seconds, with zero human review, her car was gone. Between April and June of 2023, the Iranian government sent almost 1 million of these automated text messages to women. 133,000 of those messages ordered a full vehicle immobilization. They confiscated 2,000 cars, and every single part of that, start to finish, was carried out by a machine that never gets tired, never blinks, and never needs to file for overtime. Welcome to Behind the Digital Curtain. I'm Dr. Sergio Sanchez, Dr. Qubit, and today we are not talking about the algorithm that decides what you see. We are talking about something more uncomfortable. The eye that decides it's watching you, all of you, all the time, without ever blinking. Because here is the brutal difference between a human cop and an AI-powered camera. The human cop gets tired, gets distracted, goes and grabs a burger or a donut, work an 8-hour shift and sometimes more, and then goes home to watch TV. The camera doesn't. The camera never goes home. The camera is the home. Welcome to Behind the Digital Curtain, the podcast where technology speaks human. I am Dr. Sergio Sanchez, aka Dr. Qubit, your guide to understanding what's going on with artificial intelligence, digital dangers, how to navigate this crazy world of digital lies and scams that seem straight out of science fiction movies. I will tell you how to protect yourself even if you don't like technology. And well, let's start with the show. Welcome to Behind the Digital Curtain. Hello, everybody. And before you think, great, Dr. Qubit doing the tech doom and gloom thing again, let me be straight with you about something important. Surveillance is not new. As long as humans have existed, somebody has wanted to know what we are up to. Your mom, your girlfriend, your wife, your mother-in-law, the parole officer, the taxman. That is not news. What actually is news, what generally changed in just a few years, is that for the first time in the history of our species, the watcher doesn't need to sleep anymore. Today, we're going to talk about a Romanian scientist who had a secret police agent sit silently at his desk, watching him for 13 straight years without even once telling him his name. we're going to talk about a real U.S. National Security Agency program that uses phone data to help decide who deserves to die in a drone strike. We're going to talk about why the phone on your pocket already knows more about you than any chip anyone ever implanted in your brain. And we're going to talk about Masha Amini, a 20-year-old woman whose death sparked an entire movement, and how a camera system ended up punishing thousands of Iranian women simply for existing in public. This episode is built off Chapter 7 of Yuval Noah Harari's book, Nexus, titled Tireless, the network that's always on. And as always, I took these ideas, ran them through an independent fact-checking, chewed them up, and then serving them to you fully loaded. Let's get into that. Europe's most paranoid dictator still couldn't watch everyone. Most of us assume total surveillance already existed before. That's nothing really changed except the delivery method. That a government is spying on you with humans and government is spying on you with computers is basically the same thing underneath. Wrong. And to understand why, we need to go to Romania in the late 1970s. There was a computer scientist named George Losifescu. One day, in 1976, he walked into his office at the government computer center and find a stranger sitting there in a rumpled suit who doesn't respond when Losifescu greets him. Losifescu sits down at his desk, fires up his enormous computer, and gets to work. The stranger pulled his chair close and started writing down Losifescu's every move in a little notebook. Losifescu asked his name. Silence. Asks what he wants. Silence. And at the end of the day, the man stands up and leaves without a word. That exact scene repeated itself every single day for the next 13 years until the communist regime finally collapsed in 1989. Losifescu never once learned the agent's name, and agents of Romania feared secret police, the Securitate. And here's the part of the story that generally grabbed me. Romanian's dictator, Nicolae Ceausescu, was arguably one of the most extreme paranoid modern history tyrants has produced. He went so far as to order every single citizen in the country, all 20 million of them, to submit a handwriting example and had every single typewriter in Romania registered, complete with his own unique fingerprint, like it was a firearm. And even with all that obsessive control, Ceausescu never managed to watch his entire population. Why? Let's do the math. To keep 20 million people under surveillance around the clock in reasonable shifts, we'll have to require, based on the calculations in this very book that inspired this episode, roughly 40 million agents. Ceausescu has exactly 40,000. One agent for every 1,000 he actually needed. Even history's most obsessive dictator ran headfirst into a wall that no tyrants before him has ever managed to knock down. His spies still need to sleep. And here is the second wall, the most almost nobody talk about. Let's say, purely as a thought experiment, Ceausescu had somehow found his 40 million agents. Every single one of them will need to file a report at the end of the day on what they saw. That is 20 million reports a day, 7.3 billion reports a year. Who was going to read all of them? Who was going to cross-reference them looking for patterns? No army or human bureaucrats, no matter how disciplined, could have processed that ocean of paperwork. The Securitate wasn't feared because it actually watched everyone. It was feared because people believed they might be watched, and that fear alone was enough to make everybody police themselves. Here is the analogy that actually made this click for me. Picture your most controlling relative, the one who wants to know everything you're doing all day, every day. In real life, that relative still has to sleep, still has to go to the grocery store, still have to watch their own shows. Their capacity for surveillance has a natural, biological ceiling. Now imagine that relative isn't a person anymore. It's an app. It doesn't sleep, doesn't blink, doesn't get distracted by their favorite shows, and on top of that, it reads and analyzes every single message you send in under a second. That's the entire difference between old surveillance and new surveillance. The desire to watch us didn't change. What changed, for the first time in human history, is the physical capacity to do it without ever needing a break. We are our own informant now, and nobody even made us do it. Here's the part I found most uncomfortable to research. The Securitate agent watching Ionescu didn't follow him into the bathroom. He didn't sit on the edge of the bed while Ionescu was intimate with someone. Today, that's literally what your smartphone does. You carry it into the bathroom. You leave it charging right next to the bed. And the most uncomfortable part of all, if we're being honest, nobody forced us to buy it. We pay with our own money for the agent that watches us 24 hours a day. And then we carry it everywhere, proudly, in a cute little case. And it's not just that. The Securitate needs human analysts to read its 7.3 billion reports a year, and it never found enough of them. Today, that bottleneck is completely gone. The average human reads about 250 words a minute. A Securitate analyst working 12-hour shifts every single day across a full 40 years career could have read at best 2.6 billion words in their entire lifetime. Today, AI language models can read that exact same amount, 2.6 billion words, in a couple of hours. And here's the real example that took my breath away once I confirmed it across multiple independent sources. Between 2014 and 2015, in the U.S. National Security Agency developed a program with a no-subtle name, Skynet. Yes, like in the movie from Terminator, the same name as the villainous AI from the movies. Skynet analyzed cell phones network metadata from 55 million people in Pakistan, hunting for behavioral patterns that suggested someone might be a terrorist. It wasn't listening to calls, it was just analyzing who you talk to, for how long, from where, how often you travel. And here's the quote I want burned into your memory because it was said on the record publicly by a former director of both the CIA and NSA itself, General Michael Hayden. Direct quote,
"We kill people based on metadata."
No based on evidence, no based on confessions, based on patterns. A machine found in who's calling who. Independent researchers who later reviewed the leaked documents found serious flaws in that algorithm, trained on a shockingly small number of confirmed terrorist examples, which data analysts said could generate an alarming number of false positives. Ordinary people flagged as terrorists based purely on the pattern of their phone calls. Never before in human history had an algorithm literally held the power to decide who lives and who dies, based on nothing more than who can call you on the phone. I have a friend. I call him Dino. And when I told him this Skynet story while we were waiting in line for burgers, he went quiet for a second. Then just said, with that face he makes when he actually rattled,
"So now even getting killed requires them to pull your phone plan first?"
And honestly, I have never heard it put more clearly than that. The brain chip is not the problem. Your phone already is. You've probably seen the videos floating around claiming Elon Musk and the elites are about to implant chips on our brains to control us. Let's actually talk about this seriously, because the real story is weirder and is always on the show more interesting than the myth. First, the real part. Neuralink, Elon Musk company, is absolutely real, and it has genuinely been experimenting with brain implants. First, in animals like mice, sheep, pigs, and monkeys, and since January 2024, in actual humans. The first patient received an implant that month, and months later reported that he could move a computer cursor using nothing but thoughts. This has real, beautiful medical potential for people living with paralysis. That part deserves to be said clearly and without cynicism. But here's the detail the conspiracy theory completely skipped over. Right now, in 2026, nobody, not Musk, not any neuroscientist on the planet, understand the human brain well enough to read your political opinions or your secrets of those electrodes. We haven't even fully mapped the brain of a single mouse yet. So the fantasy of a mind-reading, mind-controlling chip is still, for now, science fiction. So what should we exactly be worried about? The little rectangle already sitting on your pocket. Think about this way. If someone wanted to know your political leanings, what will give them better data? A chip measuring your heart rate or amygdala activity while you watch the news, or your phone, which already knows down to the second that you watch Fox News 40 minutes a day and CNN for 40 seconds. Today, the phone wins by a landslide. And this is not science fiction. This is technology that is already here, running right now. Since the early 2020s, the cameras on your laptop and phone have been capable of tracking your own eye movements. Not the big obvious one, the tiny ones, microchipped on your pupils that last only milliseconds. From that, an algorithm can tell if you are focused or distracted, if something interests you or disgusts you, and even whether you have recently had alcohol or another substance, because that measurably changes pupil size and how your eyes track a moving object. You don't need a chip on your brain. You already handed a company the complete map of your eyes, your pulse, and your 3 a.m. insomnia. And you did it for free, in exchange for Wi-Fi.
There's an eye that never closes, watching over me each night. Knows my secrets, knows my sorrows, knows before I turn the light. Never asks me where I've been, never needs to raise its voice, 'cause it already has the answer before I've made a choice. Oh, camera, you love me so much, you never leave. You know me better than my mother, better than I could believe. And they tell me this is caring, tell me this is safe and sound, but my heart just wants a moment where no watching eye is found. Just believe that somewhere, sometime I could be unseen, and it'd be fine. 'Cause a love that never blinks, well, I don't know if that's love or just a live feed on a wire.
Want to know your family is safe all the time, everywhere? Introducing Total Eye Home, the camera, microphone, and GPS tracking system that lets you know exactly where every member of your family is 24 hours a day. No exception, no privacy, no rest. With Total Eye Home, you can review your teenage daughter's complete location history, listen in to your kids' conversation on their own room, and get an instant alert every time anyone in your house does something you personally don't approve of it. All of it, of course, done in the name of love and family safety. Possible side effects include teenagers who stop telling you literally anything, an irreversible breakdown of family trust, children who develop impressively sophisticated lying skills before age 15, and in extreme cases, your own family installing Totally Eye on you as well, to watch you right back. Totally Eye Home is not a substitute for honest conversation, clear boundaries, and basic trust between people who love each other. If a family relationship only functions through total surveillance, the problem might not be the app. Press click with responsibility. Totally Eye Home, because nothing says I love you quite like knowing exactly where you are all the time.
The end of privacy, told through real cases. Let's go to the United States. January 6, 2021, the attack on the Capitol. This case, extensively documented by the Washington Post and by subsequent journalist investigation, is probably the most complete real-world example of what a modern surveillance apparatus can do when it's fully switched on. The FBI pulled Capitol CCTV footage, nationwide license plate reader systems, cell tower location data, and legal subpoenas to Facebook, Google, and other companies to reconstruct minute by minute exactly where individual people had been that day. One documented case, verified by multiple news reports, involved a man who participated in the riot wearing a throwback Philadelphia Eagles beanie. Years later, volunteer internet detectives identified him by matching that same beanie to a family photo posted on Facebook from a pumpkin patch trip back in October 2020. A family photo of a pumpkin patch outing ended up being the key evidence in a federal arrest. By 2024, more than a third of January 6 court cases were citing facial recognition technology as part of the evidence, compared to under 5% before 2023. According to reporting, the FBI maintains a continuously growing repository of images and videos from that day, ready to be run against driver's license photos, passports, and social media posts the moment a new suspect surfaces. Now, I want to be fair here, because this show doesn't just deal in doom. This exact same technology has reunited families torn apart by real tragedy. In China, a boy named Gao Hou was kidnapped in 2009 at age 3 and sold to a family 1,500 kilometers away. In 2019, facial recognition software, starting with nothing but a baby photo, simulated what a 13-year-old Guy Ho looks like, and found him in 2023. That same technology helped reunite 2 more men kidnapped as toddlers back in 1998 and 2001 with their parents after more than 20 years of searching. And in Denmark, the football club Broadly used face recognition to identify violent fans before they even entered the stadium. But it does so under strict oversight from European data protection law, with formal approval and clear limits. That's the entire difference between a powerful tool used responsibly and one with no limits at all. And now, the hardest part of this episode, the part I really want to stick with you. In 2022, Iran turned enforcement of its mandatory hijab law into a AI-powered surveillance system running across both the streets and the internet. A regime official explained in a public interview that the system will identify inappropriate behavior, including failing to wear the headscarf correctly. In September 16, 2022, Masha Amini, a 22-year-old woman, died in custody of Iran's morality police after being arrested for wearing her hijab incorrectly. Her death sparkled the human life freedom movement. Hundreds of thousands of women removed their headscarves in public. Some burned them in the streets. The Iranian government responded by arresting more than 19,000 people and killing more than 500. According to Amnesty International. After the protest, instead of backing off, Iran accelerated its surveillance system. Between April and June 2023, according to official figures confirmed by Iran's own police spokesperson and documented by Amnesty International, the system sent nearly 1 million automated text messages to women caught unveiling inside their own cars. 133,000 of those messages ordered vehicle immobilization. 2,000 cars were confiscated. More than 4,000 repeat offenders were referred to trial. Amnesty International collected testimony from a 52-year-old woman, identified as Marian, who described loading grocery bags into her car when her headscarf accidentally slipped, and receiving a message minutes later saying her car was now under systematic embargo for 15 days. No human being ever reviewed her case. Nobody heard her explanation. A camera saw her, an algorithm decided, and an automated message carried out the sentence, all within seconds. The exact same technology that reunited a kidnapped child with his parents is the exact same technology that confiscated Marian's car over a headscarf that slipped while she was carrying groceries. The tool doesn't decide if it's good or bad. Whoever built it and whoever regulated it does. Your jealous partner, your boss, and TripAdvisor are all watching you too. Let's come down from governments and talk about something a lot closer to home. Literally, your home. In the US, the National Network to End Domestic Violence found, in a serious survey of victim service providers, that 71% of domestic abusers monitored their partner's devices and 54% directly install spyware on them without consent. Apps built for something sweet like Find My Friends turn into the digital leash of a toxic relationship. You don't need an authoritarian government to live under total surveillance. Sometimes all it takes is a shared phone and a password the other person already knows. Your boss is in on this too. More and more, companies track with real precision how long employees spend in the bathroom, whether they check personal email at work, and how fast they finish each task. Scholar Shoshana Zuboff coined a name for this entire phenomenon: surveillance capitalism. A business model where companies don't just sell the products anymore, they watch you in order to predict and eventually manipulate your future behavior. And here's my favorite example of peer-to-peer surveillance, no government required. TripAdvisor, in 2019, 463 million travelers checked 859 million reviews, covering 8.6 billion hotels, restaurants, and attractions. Every review you write earns you 100 points, every photo 30. And based on those points, TripAdvisor sorts you into levels 1 through 6. Writer Linda Kinstler put it perfectly. Before TripAdvisor, the customer was king in name only. Afterward, he became a true tyrant with the power to make or break lives. Today, any waiter, cab driver, or hairstylist knows their entire livelihood can hinge on one bad afternoon captured by someone with a phone in hand and a grudge to rate. And this brings us to the most uncomfortable idea in the whole chapter that inspired this episode. Money, invented 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, was humanity's very first scoring system. Before that, there was reputation, honor, something far blurrier, far less precise, impossible to count exactly. Nobody knew exactly how many honor points a medieval knight earned for being brave in battle. That fuzziness, weird as a sound to say out loud, actually protected people. It gave us zones of life where we weren't competing for status, where we could just relax. Now, imagine a system that put an exact number on everything. 10 points for picking up litter, 20 for helping an elderly neighbor cross the street, minus 15 for blasting music and annoying the neighbors. And that total score decide whether you get hired, whether you get loans, get approved, whether your kids get into college, or whether a judge hands you a harsher sentence. That is no science fiction in some countries anymore. And the real danger isn't just that it exists, it's that it wipes out the possibility to ever having one bad day without consequences following you for life. Money revolutionized the economy by putting a number on everything you could buy. A social scoring system threatens to revolutionize something a lot more dangerous, the possibility to ever having a bad day without it haunting you forever.
Well, they covered up his face and he left his phone at home, borrowed his cousin's pickup truck so his own plate wouldn't show. Thought he was a ghost, thought nobody'd ever know, but he forgot about that hat from the pumpkin patch photo. 1,000 cameras caught him at the bridge and at the light. An old selfie from Facebook told the whole story overnight. You can hide your face, you can hide your name, but the algorithm don't forget, and it don't play that game. There ain't no hiding place left, no shadow left uncounted. 1,000 cameras got your number before the day was mounted. And the moral of this story, boys, before you make your plan, is remember every photo lasts forever. Even the dumb ones understand. So that's the end of our story, of the man who thought he'd win. Turns out a smiling family photo was his downfall in the end. Technology don't forgive you, and it damn sure don't forget. Not even that old picture that you thought you could reset.
Tired of your reputation depending on messy, imprecise rumors and gossip? Introducing Perfect Score, the app that puts an exact number on everything you do all day, every day, forever. With Perfect Score, earn points for recycling, for showing up on time, and for smiling at your neighbor. Lose points for being late, or arguing online, or for having a friend with a low score. Because yes, your friends count against you too. Your final score decides whether you get a job, that loan, or that spot in line at the bank. Possible side effects include constant anxiety over every tiny daily decision, the total impossibility of ever having a bad day without permanent consequences, widespread social paranoia, and the complete loss of those moments where a person could just relax without being rated by somebody. Perfect Score is not responsible for friendship loss due to your friend's low scores or for sleepless nights spent obsessively checking your points history. Remember, one rough night of off-key karaoke can follow you for the next 10 years. Press click responsible. Perfect score because your worst days deserve to be on the permanent record.
And now we get to the part where we just stop being scared and actually do something concrete. This exercise is called the Unwitnessed Hour, here in the Do-It-Yourself segment. Step 1. Right now, go into your phone settings and find the App Permissions section. Check how many apps have access to your camera, your microphone, and your location, even when you are not actively using the app. I promise you will find at least 3 apps with zero logical reason to know where you are at 3 in the morning. Step 2. Pick 1 hour, any hour, in the next 24 and completely power off your phone. No airplane mode, completely off. 1 full hour where no algorithm, no app, no camera in your own pocket knows where you are exactly or what you're doing. It's going to feel strange. That feeling is exactly the signal of how used we become to being always on. Step 3, and this is the one that matters the most. If you have teenagers or you are in a relationship yourself, have an honest conversation about which tracking apps are actually in use and why. Ask out loud, is this care or this is control? The answer isn't always comfortable, but the question is worth asking anyway. And here's the challenge. Count how many apps on your phone currently have permissions to use your microphone right now. Screenshot and share it tagging Behind the Digital Curtain. I'll bet you anything the numbers surprise you, and not in a good way. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with an idea that closed the chapter that inspired this episode, because I think it's the single most important idea in today's entire show. Human beings are biological organisms. We need rest, we need pauses. Even the New York Stock Exchange closes on weekends and holidays. But a computer network can stay switched on forever. No rest, no vacation, no weekend. And here's what actually mattered the most. It's not just being watched constantly, exhausted. Thought it absolutely does. Is that without pauses, without moment where the network stops, we will never get the chance to catch its mistakes and correct them. Because a network that never sleeps also never stops to ask itself whether it got something wrong. If this episode hooked you in and you want to know and go deeper on the legal and forensic side of these topics, go find my friends Dean Morrow, attorney, FBI InfraGard member, and host of the podcast Cybercrime Junkies. Between the two of us, we covered this world from angles that genuinely completed each other. I'm Dr. Sergio Sanchez, Dr. Qubit. This has been Behind the Digital Curtain. Protect your privacy, give your phone a break, and give somebody in your life a break too this weekend. See you next week, if the eye lets us. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you enjoy it, please share with someone you want to protect and help navigate this technological world. And if you have questions, anecdotes, or stories you would like to share, write me at behindthedigitalcurtainpodcast@gmail.com. I'll be waiting for you next week for another episode of Behind the Digital Curtain. the place where technology is spoken in human language. See you later.